Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 3 of What If Naruto Was in Prison and Sealed Away for 18 years. Remember to get this 1 to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto had ultimate luck with a gambling ability. And enjoyed that guys over on Anime King. And also guys, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was the Ultimate Saiyan over on Anime King 3. So go ahead and enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, we started with a flashback of the past, as Naruto and Sasuke was in rage. The both of them leaped towards each other with a Rasengan and a Shidori, as the violent output of chakra knocked the both of them back, but Naruto remained conscious as the words of Kakashi floated through his mind. Someone that left their teammate behind are even worse than scum. He fought, even though he was badly, severely injured. He fought. He did not give up. He spat blood, but yet he remained on his feet as he fought till the bitter end when he was about to collapse. But Kakashi arrived and caught him as he looked down on the bad state that Naruto was in. Sasuke was in a bad state as well, but Naruto was seeming to be worse. As Naruto passed out once, Kakashi picked him up. He ran. Kakashi created a clone and ran. The medics caught up with him and started to treat them on the way. But Naruto's injuries were more severe because he was holding back not to kill Sasuke, and he took so many devastating wounds. When they got back to Konoha, they rushed to Tsunade, as Tsunade rushed Naruto's aid. When Naruto woke up, he wasn't sure how long he was out for. But he was out for a while, but he got Sasuke back. As Naruto sent the clone towards the main office, the clone transformed as it felt like something was wrong. A civilian member walked in with a note to Tsunade. All the civilian council. There was a law set in place a long time ago where the civilians could get a shinobi kicked from a shinobi program. As Naruto has done so much things, they used the past, things that he did as painting Hokage's monument, trying to kill a Uchiha clan heir, as they want him to be kicked out of the village. When the clone poofed away, Naruto had tears in his eyes and he couldn't believe it. We then end the flashback right there, as we skip back to the real Naruto was edging seals into his blade. We then skip to Hinata who was speaking to her teammates, as she told them that Naruto was insane. As Naruto did things to spend his time in solitary, he went in there alone, only had Kurama to speak with. Something happened to him in the past, when he became Konoha Butcher, and he changed completely. No one has yet said exactly what he did, as Naruto made his way to fight Itachi, Kisame, and Kakashi. Despite the three of them taking him on, three of them being trained over the past 18 years, they still could not best him. Just go to show how strong he was, as he found a lead on Zetsu as he made his way out to hunt. Zetsu the cannibal was making his way around. Some Kumo shinobis attacked him, but he killed them, as Zetsu had to get stronger as well, as he was a fighting beast type, seeing that they were in the midst of a war after all. As Naruto found him as he used chains, he used a strategic fighting ways, no flashy jutsu, as he aimed Zetsu by himself, ending the head, the brain of the whole army. As Naruto made his way back to Konoha, that is where he met the twins, Mikoto and Shisui, Itachi children, as Naruto couldn't believe it. as he spoke to them about things, especially about not focusing too much on their eyes. Tell them of the two people that had their names before them. After which they made their way off as Naruto sat there, as he watches people in Konoha Park move all around, having a wonderful time even though people out there in the front dying. The fox was trying to get Naruto not to forgive them. After all, they betrayed him in the past, and Hinata as well, she betrayed him as well, and they should not be forgiven. As a memory popped in Naruto's mind as he sat there. So yeah guys, that's basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place, check out for yourself. So this will begin this new episode. We begin this episode off with a flashback. Blood splatter against the creamy color walls as he smelled the stomach contents. As the stomach splashed all over, Naruto jumped up in the hospital bed as he placed a hand on his head. Kami, it felt so real. But his hands were not stained red, and he was not covered in dry blood. He has been in the hospital for about 3 days now. As he got out of bed and washed his face in the bathroom, drinking some of the water as well. As he reached up to look in the mirror as he saw himself, but his eyes were red and crimson. As Naruto saw himself, his face was more feral. His eyes were red and slitted. Kyubi, he said. The image in the mirror did not say the same words, despite it being his reflection, but it nodded. What are you doing to me? Said Naruto, as he has never had such vivid dreams before in his life. Never had he smelled the blood, tasted it, and it was a dream. The image raised a claw hand and touched the glass where it was still fogged up. It moved his finger in a kanji, but Naruto could not make it out, as he moved his head as well. As the fingernail on his claw hand started to carve into the steamy glass, the word nothing. Naruto tilted his head. You're lying. You have to be lying. Those thoughts. I've never killed anyone before, said Naruto. The fox smirked as he shook his head in the mirror. Naruto slammed his fist into the mirror, shattering it, as all the pieces fell into the basin. As he cut his hand, he held his hand over the sink, his hand shaking and dripping blood. The doctors rushed inside as he looked at him. I'm fine. Just go, he said. As he started to remove the shards from his hand, the doctors left. What was his reaction? A response to being told the truth? Was he really having such dark thoughts of slaughtering helpless people? Was he really the monster that Konoha was making him out to be? Once he got all of the glass out, he wrapped his hand as he headed back to bed. Tsunade was going to be pissed when she found out about his hand. He could practically hear her nagging about him to be sitting back and resting. He sniffed as he still smelled the blood. Kill them. Kill them before they have a chance. So what if you go to jail? As Naruto refused to listen to that voice, it only wanted to bring him pain. He massaged his temples as he grabbed a few of the cards on the nightstand. Shikamaru had put one there, Kakashi, and even Hinata. He looked at the card as he saw Hinata handwriting, but as he looked through the rest of the cards, he didn't have one from Sakura. Hell, even Gar and his siblings left him a card, but Sakura did not. He leaned his head against the rail as he thought, she will never care for you. You're all alone. Eventually, everyone will pass you by as well. Face the facts. The one that you love always almost give you a concussion just for asking her out. Your so-called brother has come close to kill you 3 times now. Your sensei, all of them, haven't teach you a damn thing. As Naruto needs something to do to ignore the voice. I hate hospital, he shouted as he created a clone. As the clone leaped out the window to get something for the creator to do. Sleep was out of the question and Fox would just plague his dreams with more blood and bodies. As the clone transformed when it reached into an alley, stepping out with black hair and black eyes. The clone walked through the street, avoiding people, moving around. The clone found himself to the memorial stone on Training Ground 7. As Kakashi was there reading his book, as the clone dropped the transformation. Yo, Kakashi turned in surprise. Naruto, he said, what are you doing out of bed? I know you hate hospitals, but even you must know how messed up you are. As he looked over the blonde. Technically, I am, or the boss is. I'm just a clone, finding something for a boss. To do so you won't wither away in the bed. As the clone didn't have the nerve to tell Kakashi about what the civilian council was planning. As Kakashi saw the look, you seem troubled, Naruto. Is there anything I can do to help, he said. He thought about the offer as he was about to decline, but something else popped into his head. Yeah, actually, there's 2 things I want actually. Can you teach me the technique? Double suicide decapitation. Why? Said Kakashi. just out of curiosity. As Naruto shrugged, I don't seem to have a juice repertoire, you know? I know the summoning, transformation, substitution, Rasengan, and cyclone techniques. I know that a lot of those are high-level techniques, but I don't have a lot of basic techniques that supplement me. That was the first one I saw that really influenced me. To what extent? Kakashi lists the reasons. He pulled out a blank strip of scroll. As he pulled out a pen as he wrote down the description, he tossed it towards Blonde who caught it and opened it, before rolling it up as he packed it away. Oh, and I also want to talk about girls. Kakashi paused. He raised an eyebrow as he looked up from his book as he saw a red tint on Naruto's cheek. Oh, let the Naruto-chan become the man, huh? As Naruto gave him a blank stare. You know I just committed the scroll that you gave me to memory. I can create 1,000 clones at once. Your pawn is in grave danger. Well, it was a bluff. He hadn't memorized the scroll yet. As Kakashi realized what he was implying. Oh, sorry, he said. So, what is it that you want to talk about, he said. As Naruto started to pace around as Kakashi watched them, before he paused. How do you know if a girl likes you? I'm asking for real advice here, Sensei, so be straightforward with me. I take it that you've been thinking about Sakura, interaction with you. As Naruto nodded. Okay, these may seem like strange questions, but did Tsunade-sama or Jiraiya-sama give you the talk? As Naruto groaned. I went to Shizune when Jiraiya tried to do it, said Naruto. As Kakashi nodded. That was good to go to the mature person. Out of the 3 people that Naruto had traveled with for a while. You know what a virgin is, right? As Naruto nodded. They were awkward, strange questions, and he didn't see how they focused on his original question. Okay, then I will be straightforward and honest with you. I am not a virgin, Naruto. However, I also grew up in a time of war, when it was ill-advised to get romantically involved with people. In 13 years since the Kyuubi attack, I have had a few romantic relationships. I am not the greatest person to go to for advice, but I can give you this at least. Try to limit your partner preference to around your age. It's not illegal to marry someone older or even younger if both parties are consensual adults, which usually means 16 or shinobi. It is frowned upon, however, to marry older or younger, and while marriage is a steep step to take, eventually it will happen. As he saw that Naruto was still focused on him, then look for reactions from a girl. As Naruto frowned, confused. A punch is not a positive reaction. What are positive reactions are things like blushing, a hint of shyness, perhaps drawing strength from your words, getting a fire in your eyes. When you're insulted, Kakashi knew what he was doing, as Hinata had the biggest crush on Naruto, and he was trying to nudge the blonde in that direction for him to find out. The two would make a cute couple. Lastly, think what you want in a girl, not just beauty preferences. Otherwise, I would have been married a long time ago. But personality-wise, do you want someone brash, who yells a lot, seem angered easily, and unwilling to compromise? Naruto thought around all the kunoichi around his age. Sakura, Hinata, Ino, Tenten, even Temari. He really hadn't interacted with so much girls in the academy, and Iom was too close to him to consider for him to go out with. And Temari lived in another village. That wouldn't work that well. He looked back up. Thanks, Kakashi-sensei, he said as he ran off. The advice had given him something to think about, but he still wanted more. Before he left the field, he transformed back into a civilian look as he went to the academy. School was out for the day, but if he knew Aruka, he would be elbow deep in grading homework. Sure enough, the other man was in his office as Naruto entered in the hallway. As he dropped his transformation and opened the door. Hey, Aruka-sensei, he said. Aruka turned. Naruto? Shouldn't you be in the hospital, he said. Oh, I'm a clone, said Naruto. Aruka nodded. So, bored out of your mind and need something to do, huh? Yeah, that sounds like something that you will do. As Naruto got seated in front of him. So what can I do for you? Well, said Naruto, I heard from someone that you're a bit of a water specialist. Aruka sighed. No, Naruto. I can't teach you any powerful water jutsu, he said. No, I don't want a powerful water jutsu. I need something supplementary. Aruka was surprised by that. Well, I could teach you, if I know it. So what do you want to learn? The hidden mist technique, said Naruto. Aruka paused. He was curious. Why that particular technique, Naruto, he asked. Naruto clenched his fist a bit. Mamaka Zabuza, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. We encountered him on our first secret mission outside of this village. I feel so helpless. Back then, I was unable to do a single thing in that mist. I can't ask you to use it on me so I can learn how to fight in that mist. So, I want to know how to do it myself. Plus, I'm pretty good at stealth. I painted the Hokage monument in broad daylight, wearing all orange, and I was gone before anyone noticed me. Iruka snorted, remember that? And he supposed it was true, but eventually he had caught the blonde. Okay, he said. I'll give you a scroll. As he pulled a short scroll and wrote the instructions down. It was good to see Naruto taking the supplementary skills, seriously. As Naruto took it and tucked away where he put Kakashi's scroll. Sensei, there's something else I need your help with. I need some advice on, girls. Iruka paused. Please don't ask me to give him the talk. Oh, please don't ask me to give him the talk. Please, I never asked for much. I always help though I can, Iruka said. Shizune, Tsunade Batch and apprentice gave me the talk already. But how do I know if a girl like me, said Naruto. Kakashi gave some good advice, but maybe Iruka could give him some better advice. As Iruka scratched his head as he started to go for a way, they explained to Naruto carefully, so he would not misunderstood. Well, to be honest, Naruto, girls can be pretty fickle. What they like now, they might not like it later. But if I was gonna offer some advice, be yourself. Show your confidence, and not the arrogance. And I know that you know the difference. If the girl laughs a bit at your actions, not mockingly, but actually finds them funny, then you might want to consider asking her out. Iruka said. Well, he didn't exactly have a whole lot of dating experience in the dating pool. As Naruto makes what Kakashi and Iruka said to him, as he nodded to himself. Thanks, Sensei. I'll let you get back to work on that homework now. As he walked out. As far as girls went, Sakura was not showing any of the things that Iruka and Kakashi told him. He then headed towards the hot springs, figuring that Jiraiya would be peeping on the girls inside. Sure enough, Erasenin, said Naruto. Shh! Not now, kid. Can't you see I'm busy, said Jiraiya. As Naruto frowned as he glanced towards the scrolls in his possession, the hiding in the mist seemed rather easy to do as he practiced it on a low level until he got the mist thick enough to cover his feet. It took all of 20 minutes to do so. Erasenin, I will yell out super pervert unless you give me your direct attention. Jiraiya turned towards the blonde. Why was he standing on water? If you do that, you too will also get beaten up, said Jiraiya. I know the hide in the mist technique, said Naruto as he tapped his foot in the water, and I can do it just fine. Jiraiya paled. The little shit could run away under the cover of the mist, and the woman would not see him. Okay, kid, 2 questions. First, why are you out of the hospital? Tsunade told me the extent of your damage. Second, what is it that you want? My senseis have to be inspiring against me, said Naruto. All 3 of them asked him the same question. None of you thought them a clone? Seriously? Said Naruto. Naruto said Jiraiya. Correcting a clone in your condition could be quite dangerous. I feel fine, Erasenin. It sucks to be bedridden, and I'm bored out of my mind. Jiraiya winced a bit. He could understand a bit where the blonde was coming from. Okay, relax, kid, relax. What do you want, said Jiraiya. Well, I'm meant to be your apprentice, right? Think you can teach me a few jutsu, said Naruto. As Jiraiya felt pain, mental pain as he thought, Minato. He hasn't been doing his work as a godfather good, hasn't he? Alright, kid, come with me. I'll give you a test. As Jiraiya hopped down from a tree. Naruto was confused as Jiraiya brought him to a small apartment. As Naruto felt a strange sensation, like he belonged here, it was strange. As Naruto made his way over as he saw photos of Jiraiya with his team. The 4th Hokage was on it as well. He then saw Team Hiruzen, and another one with them standing with a summoned creature in each of their hands. A picture was face down as Naruto was about to lift it up. I would ask you not to lift that one, kid, and just let it lay there, said Jiraiya. What is with the picture laying face down, said Naruto. They bring about a lot of painful memories. Many of them are my greatest regrets and failures. Someday I might show you a few, but for now, please leave it be. Jiraiya's voice was full of nothing but pain and regret. As Naruto heard the pain, they moved away from the pictures. As he moved over to the small table, the man sat down. So, what kind of test will this be? Jiraiya pulled the red book and handed it to Naruto. Using the beginner manual, make me a small, powered explosive tag, a ceiling tag, and a modified explosive tag. You have 1 hour. As he gave Naruto the paper and the ink for it. As my apprentice, I expect you to use 3 things at least. The toads, the Rasengan, and sealing. Even the 4th used toads and sealing before he taught me the Rasengan. As Jiraiya held up the stopwatch. As Naruto looked at the bottle with the ink inside, he had plenty of space to work with as he looked down towards the paper and the ink, well, it was completely full. As Naruto took a deep breath as he watched Jiraiya, he flipped open the book as Jiraiya clicked the stopwatch. As Naruto started to scan the pages, it showed some basic symbols that will be used for the art of sealing. By altering the symbol, he could change how the seal worked. But he had to make sure that his chakra read the symbol. Surprisingly though, he found himself clicking with it, knowing how to change it, how to fix, and fit into the function. As he flipped over to where he will make an explosive tag, his eyes roamed over the words and symbols. It was like something awakened inside his blood, something that was dormant till now. Jiraiya watches a blonde read about the explosive tag for about 10 minutes. It seems like he inherited his father, natural ability to use seals, and his mother, ability, being a Uzumaki. They would be so proud of you, Jiraiya thought to himself, as he watched the kid that smiled. As Naruto then grabbed the paper and the ink brush, as his mind reeled at the possibilities in front of him, how easy it would be to make an explosive that could level this entire village. He blinked. What the hell was he thinking? He charged the brush and ink with his chakra as he started to draw out the seal on the tag. As Jiraiya watched him, Naruto's hand was flowing. He had seen Kushina write seals a few times and she had that flowing, like water, and he was doing the same thing. When the blonde was done, Jiraiya accepted the seal tag, as he examined it. As he created a clone and passed it off to test it. Next, Naruto started to read over the words for a stored seal. How it could be used with that explosive tags to do something more devastating. Senbons, kunais, with the explosive seal wrapped around it, but a basic storage seal as he started to write. Before he sealed away the entire book, as Jiraiya's eyes raised. As Naruto then grabbed the last piece of paper as he wrote out 2 other seals, as he headed towards the kitchen. Jiraiya listened as the blonde ran, to tap water for the moment. As Naruto came back and slapped the final seal on the table, Jiraiya clicked his stopwatch. 35 minutes. That was impressive. He got the memory from his clone that the low power seal. It did work. In fact, it had about the force of a firecracker. Jiraiya held up the last seal. Why did the blonde run the water for this one? As he placed it on the floor and set it off, he doubted that it would explode enough force to do anything real damaging. It didn't explode like he thought though. Instead, mist poured out of the seal. A tag that contained the hide in the mist technique. Now Jiraiya was definitely impressed. Alright kid, you proved your point, Jiraiya said. Much to the joy of the blonde clone. Here, I'll also give you the novice, intermediate, and master, expert level in sealing books. Please read them in order and do not, listen to me Naruto, do not try to do something until I clear you for the first few books. Also, you can create the seals, but don't activate in the hospital. Tsunade would kill both of us. As Naruto nodded, as Jiraiya sealed the books away inside of sealing paper. Hey, I also want to talk to you about something else, said Naruto, as he looked to the side and scratched his cheek. What's that, said Jiraiya. Girls, said Naruto. Jiraiya gave a perverted giggle as he pulled an orange book out and placed it on the table in front of Naruto. This should be all you need to know about girls and women, Naruto. I'm proud of you, Jiraiya said with a smile. As Naruto picked up the book before throwing it back at Jiraiya. I'm serious here. I need some real advice. None of this bullcrap. Alright, calm down, Jiraiya said. Let me tell you a story about the dead lass that fight for the affections of the top kunoichi of his graduation class. As Naruto sat back down, well damn, that sounded like a familiar tale. Kame, Tsunade was always a beautiful girl, Jiraiya said, as he shook his head. Was a bit flat chest in my opinion for a while, as Naruto snorted at that. But, my every attempt, every time I asked, she always brushed me off. It was fine, I just kept on trying and she kept on brushing me off too. Even Sensei thought I was stupid at times. Wow, this sounded much like his life. Who would have thought? She was always going after the affection of Orochimaru, before turning into an insane bastard, but not like the fangirls nowadays. She was a lot more calm. Then she met Dan. Kaito, Dan. Shizune uncle. My advice to you is, kid, don't be afraid to try again, but you need to know when to give up. But at least you're not as bad with women as my last student. At least you know when to ask for advice. As Naruto blinked, wait, the fourth Hokage was bad with women, he said. Jiraiya snorted. Absolutely terrible. It took his crush getting kidnapped before he worked up enough nerve to ask her out. He was shy, or his crush said Naruto, as he really wanted to know more about his hero. Absolutely, but his crush was also loud, brash, and even denser than you can be. She probably wouldn't pay a damn attention to the fact that he liked her. It took him saving her for her to find out really what was going on. But then again, she also called him flaky and weird from time to time. But she did shape up very well into a good kunoichi. As Naruto remembered, didn't he know someone that was shy around him? Didn't he also call her weird? He would let the original figure that out. Alright, Urasanin, I better get back so boss won't try to escape himself. Jiraiya gave a small wave as he watched the blonde walk away. He hoped the blonde will enjoy the gifts. They will be leaving soon on a 3-year trip. After he did a few more research, the clone got back to the hospital. Finally, said Naruto, as his clone arrived. The clone handed over everything as he did a spell, as Naruto got back all the memories. He was only expecting the jutsus, not the girl advice. But it was some good advice. As something popped into his head, she asked shy, grew strong at my words. She grew withdrawn when I called her weird, but she perked up when I told her I like people like her. As Naruto realized who it was, Hinata. As he sat down wondering if he could like Hinata like that. Damn, it was difficult. Was he looking for someone to lash out to? Or did he actually care for her? Was he just behaving like a child knowing that Sakura would not give him the time of day? Or was this real? Was this real? But that is what dating was about, right? To find out if you actually like the person. Yeah, it was. He smacked the side of his face. Whatever he said, as he unsealed the book. But he realized 4 scrolls was in there. Jiraiya has also seal away techniques. Earth release, underground, projection fish technique. Earth release, hiding earth technique. Earth release, hiding like a mole technique. They are all low rank supplementary techniques. But with the double suicide technique from Kakashi, I should be able to use them perfectly. As Naruto started to read his book, as he could even block with the Kaib by reading the sealing book, it just brought him a sense of peace. Sealing, it was just different, he didn't know why. He heard the door open as he closed the book, as Tsunade walked in. She folded her arms as she saw the book and the scrolls. I don't suppose that you mind telling me what you're doing, and how did you get those? I don't think that you're stupid enough to get out of this room, not to mention to go and train. Naruto swallowed thickly. He knew that tone. It promised a lot of pain if he didn't answer correctly. I was bored, I felt relatively fine, so I knew I had to wait for you to clear me. I sent a clone out and rested here, as he patted the bed for emphasis. I talked with Erosenin, Kakashi-sensei, and Aruka-sensei, and I got a few scrolls out of it. Erosenin even gave me books on sealing. Tsunade nodded as she did not look convinced at all. Get up, she said, as the blonde complied. As she touched the bed, she knew such a thing would have taken time, and she was notified 2 hours ago about the blonde. Punch in the mirror, 2 hours to run around, and talk to people and get jutsu scrolls, but the bed, it was still warm. Alright, I believe you, she said, as the blonde sat back down. Show me your hand, she said, as Naruto held up the hand, as she removed the wrapping. I overreacted at something, clearly, said Tsunade, as she began to heal the hand. She then used a diagnostic jutsu to check the blonde out, making sure everything was functioning properly. He hadn't done any damage to himself, but his recovery was still taking time. Hey, Bashan, can I ask you something? What do you want to ask me, she said. How did you know that you liked Chizune's uncle, said Naruto. Tsunade faltered just for a second. What was that, kid? You're asking about dating advice? As Naruto shrugged, Kakashi-sensei said that he don't have a lot of experience. Aruka-sensei doesn't seem to have a whole lot either. And need I mention Erosenin? He may have given up some advice that was not really perverted, but the first thing he tried to do was pawn that orange book onto me. Tsunade sighed, she supposed. She did have the most experience. She was engaged to Dan for a time. But damn, her fellow blonde tore open some painful wounds that never fully healed from the past. She closed her eyes a bit. Every time I was around Dan, it just felt right. It's hard to explain, kid, but you will get it. If you ever feel that sensation, it was like I knew I was safe and warm, right in the middle of war. Thinking about losing Dan always devastated me, and it hurt. Like someone wrapped their fist around my heart. When he smiled at me, I couldn't help smiling back, and I always get this warm fuzzy feeling inside. Even when he was being an idiot, he always knew how to make me smile. How was Ben an idiot, said Naruto, a bit confused. Just little things, kid. No relationship would be perfect. There's always up and downs, extremes up and extreme down. I could remember the first time I came home, absolutely drunk off my ass. I couldn't even see straight. Some bad things were said. One of them, he called me a drunk and said I need to drink less. We argued pretty badly for about a week. Then he found out that was the anniversary of my little brother's death. He knew that he wasn't wrong when he did that, and he made it up to me. He encouraged me to drink less, but nothing that would push the boundaries again. As Naruto thought about what she was saying, every relationship had its ups and downs, huh? He was surprised to hear about Dan a bit. He sounded like a great guy. And the way Tsunade spoke about him, he seemed to have that cool guy thing that Kakashi had as well. I'm sorry if I brought up some painful memories, Bachan, said Naruto, in a soft tone. Relax, kid. You needed some guidance, and I gave it. After all, who are you supposed to go to? that perverted teammate of mine. As the both of them chuckled at that. Well, I patched you up as best I could. Your body will need to heal naturally now. So no more than 2 shotguns a day. Got that? Well, at least he got some a day. Thanks, Bachan. She lightly bumped him on the head. I'm not that old brat, she said. As Naruto lay back down in the bed. As he ended up falling asleep. That night he had a terrible dream. As he felt blood splattered all over his face. His hands deep inside of... guts? As he looked down towards a shocked expression on Kakashi's face, Iruka was staring at him, terrified, chained up with chakra suppression seals on him. Jiraiya was beheaded, his head in the center of the hot spring, with many dead females around. But there was something else. As Naruto jumped out of bed, "Get out of my head," he said. As he panted a bit, he saw a man with 9 tails that looked just like him, red eyes, taking a woman with pale eyes. Where were these dreams coming from? Was he truly like that deep down? Did he want to murder each of those that had wronged him? His stomach turned at that thought. He spent the hour curled up. As he cried, as he tried to get the image and memories out of his mind, something settled in the depths of his stomach. He had been in the hospital for almost a week now. He needed to do something to get. He needed to get out of this place. The door opened up as he saw Hinata coming in, as she had another card in her hand. She was surprised to see him awake. "Hey, Hinata-chan," said Naruto. She smiled and seemed to draw herself in her jacket a bit more. "Naruto-kun, I'm so happy you're awake," she said. Positive reactions are things like blushing, a hint of shyness. Kakashi's words came back to him. She did blush quite a bit as she was shy. He remembered Jiraiya's story about the 4th and his crush. "Yeah, I'm glad to be awake as well," as he waved her in. His crush was loud, brash, and could be louder than you. As Naruto realized that he hasn't been that observant, he was a loud, brash one. In this situation, I brought you this card. She looked worried about him, as she saw the bandage around his body. He accepted the card. It was a get well soon card, her flowing signature inside. He felt something warm inside of him seeing it. As he glanced towards her forehead, as he thought about the cage bird seal as he frowned. What did he think about that? What was his feeling? Naruto-kun? As Hinata watches his face switch through so much emotions in just a second. "Sorry, Hinata-chan," he said. "Hey, can I ask you a personal question?" Sure, she said. As he stopped before sighing. "Do you like me, Hinata? I mean, more than a friend. As the way I have for soccer," he said. Her face drained of all its color. As she started to breathe heavily, her heart pounded in her chest. She wasn't expecting to ask, yet his hand reached out and took her hand into his own. "Hinata, deep breaths, inhale, exhale slowly." She did as she was told as she gripped his hand, as she took breaths in and out, in and out. Once she was calm enough, she closed her eyes. "Yes, I do like you, Naruto-kun," she said. "I like you in the way that you like Sakura-san, perhaps even more so." Naruto felt something in the pit of his stomach relax, and his heart beat harder. I would like to take you out sometime." Hinata's eyes snapped open. "But there would have to be a few precautions, and it's not that I don't want to be with you," he said. What sort of precautions, Naruto-kun?" she said. "I will have to send a shotgun in my place. I don't want to invoke Bachan wrath for getting out of bed, even if I have to go on a date with a pretty girl," he said. As he was a faint red on his cheeks, I'm calling her pretty, as her face was red as well. "Second, I will have to use the transformation. I can't go into too much detail, but people don't really like me," he said. She nodded. I will use the transformation as well then," she said. "My family wouldn't like me going someplace with someone like that," she said. As Naruto nodded, it was Wednesday. "How about Friday night?" he said. "I'll meet you at Ichiraku's. I'll be in the form of a transformation with red hair and green eyes." Despite her heart thunder in her chest, the thought of eating ramen on a first date was a bit disappointed. But he didn't know better, as he didn't have much people to teach him etiquette. But the thought of going on a date with him was more than wonderful enough to push all the disappointment away. "For Friday night," she said. "Black hair, brown eyes, civilians. 6 o'clock. As Naruto nodded, "At 6 then," he said. Over the next few days, as Naruto stayed up as late as possible so he wouldn't have to see what the fox had to show him. Or what? No, he refused to believe that that was his thoughts. But the fox still showed him those horrible nightmares, as he continued to work on his seals. When he finished the first book in sealing, he practiced working on several seals as he got everything to work. Jerry took them away to test them when he came by. On Friday at 4:30, he sent a clone to get home, as it transformed and dressed. Red hair and green eyes. As he grabbed the one that he hadn't hidden out. It wasn't that he couldn't buy anything, it was that he didn't really buy that much. He then headed towards Ichiraku's as he leaned against a wall. As time ticked by. Until Naruto-kun. As he turned to see the shy, normal looking civilian beside him. Hinata-chan, he said, as she nodded. As they were dressed casually. As he turned and offered his arm, he had seen that from time to time. She blushed and slipped her arm through his. She was shocked as he led her away from the ramen stand and took her to another restaurant. It wasn't high class or anything fancy, but it was certainly something different. They ate and talked in a hushed tone. Nothing about missions or anything else, but just stuffs about them. Naruto even listened, quite intently, as Hinata felt a building courage inside of her, just growing and growing even more as she speak and talk with him. As the blonde paid for the meal, as they walked around the park in Konoha, she got the courage as she laid her head on his shoulder, hand in hand. When it was getting late for her to get home, he escorted her as close to the compound as possible. Not close enough that they would get caught though. I had a good time, said Naruto. I also got you something. He took a scroll on seal of fox, orange plushie, that he got with Jiren, Tsunade, and Shizune. Me too, Naruto-kun, she said, as she took the plushie and hugged it tightly. I hope we get to do it again. As she saw something behind his eyes. Well, I hope so too, but Nin wanted to taught me to go in on a training trip when I recover. But she saw the look on his face. Naruto-kun, are you keeping something away from me, she said. Yes, it's big, he said. I know I can depend on others, but it's scared. She looked into his eyes. Dispel your transformation from me, she said, as she undid her own as she took several deep breaths, gathering a large amount of courage. She glanced around her byakugan, making sure no one was nearby. As Naruto undid his transformation and looked into her eyes, there was something burning inside of them. As Naruto was taken aback as she pressed her lips against his own, shocking him. It wasn't a romantic kiss of passionate desire, but it was something small, sweet, and special. She pulled back. I trust you, Naruto-kun, and I believe in you, she said, as she tapped the clone on the arm, surging chakra into it. As Naruto got the memories from the clone, as he touched his lips, as he felt that warm, fuzzy feeling. Was he in love with her? That night there was no nightmares, and he slept peacefully. But then, Naruto snapped from the memories, as we end the flashback, as Naruto bolted up from the bench that he was on, as he crushed his fist into the iron bar on the bench, as he twisted, as he remembered the look on her face, shock, fear, and disgust. After he did what he did, look on her face, that look of she couldn't believe it. And when he confessed that it was he that did it all, well, that broken look in her eyes. After the incident, he picked himself up, the memories coming back too much, as he couldn't think about that now. Over the next few days, Naruto trained, as he enjoyed the pain that he got from punching something, breaking something too hard. After about 2 weeks, he received an invitation from Kiba, a celebration in regards of the foundation for Akamaru, as Naruto accepted it, as he dressed in a black formal yukata. No doubt it was his father's. It was quite formal, as he headed towards the Inazaka compound. When he got there, the party was in full swing. As he got there and found a quiet corner to sit at, Ino was talking to a group of Jonins, as she talked to two guys that looked to be Anbu or Anbu type uniform. They just had that stiffness. Shikamaru was playing Go against his own team. 3 at once. Kiba was talking to another team. His current team was playing their pups, as he saw Shino quietly conversing with someone else. Hinata was dancing with Itachi, keeping up appearances. When the song was over, she took over, watching Mikoto and Itachi, as a civilian took her place. As Naruto saw a wheelchair coming up to him, for a second he wasn't sure who was approaching him, until he saw Guy. Guy had changed a lot in 20 years. First, he shaved most of his eyebrows off, and they look somewhat normal. His hair was no longer cut into a bowl cut. It was a normal hairstyle and Guy let it grow out. He was wearing a black shirt and a loose green pants. Hello, Naruto-kun, he said. Would you mind if I sat with you? As Naruto smiled, the green beast of Konoha, anytime he said. Guy moved from his wheelchair as he sat in the bench. I haven't been called that in over a decade, Naruto-kun. It's hard to be the green beast. without a leg to perform on. It's why I shave the eyebrows and allow my hair to start growing out. So, said Naruto, the eyebrows and hair were there for a reason. Yes, my eyebrows and leaf for that matter was so thick for a reason. By stimulating that growth and not trimming them, they act as a perfect sweat that comes down from the forehead. As Naruto burst out laughing, it was so ludicrous it makes sense. And the bold haircut, said Naruto. How do most shinobi run, said Guy. Head down, arms out to the side. The bowl cut offer aerial dynamics, and by not being thick while going for the dynamic entry, I would not be slowed down by my hair that rise up with the wind. Interesting, said Naruto. He was actually interested in what he was hearing from Guy. So, you mind talking about what happened? As Guy sighed softly, I got in a fight in the war. It was an ambush, really. Do you know why I proclaimed Kakashi as my eternal rival? A rivalry that continued to this day. Naruto shook his head. Well, he didn't know. He just presumed that it was a part of Guy, weird attitude. Growing up, I looked up to Sakamoto Hatake. He was deceased by the time I truly got into my ninja career. But Sakamoto had gotten to where he was by pure hard work. I was always interested in taijutsu, and I worked as hard as I could at it. I even came up with several ways to maximize my ability in taijutsu. The jumpsuit, the bushy eyebrows, the bowl cut, everything, said Guy. Kabuto used the Dotensei ability in conjunction with several white Setsu have. One of those that he brought back was Sakamoto Hatake. Kakashi warned himself out by using Kamui from the IFS. I was running, getting us away from the battlefield, but Sakamoto came from nowhere and hit me from my side. I had a chance to fight a legend I look up to. As Guy pulled up his pant leg to show, half of his muscle was torn out, leaving a rough scar. He then dropped it when Naruto had seen enough. I do not know if you know this, but Kakashi used to have a sword called the whle Chakra Saber. It was his father's signature sword. It broke sometime during a mission Kakashi had with the Fort Okage. Somehow Sakamoto had his blade back. I hit him with everything I had. I was running on 7 gates, and I used a morning tiger on him, but he got right back up from it. Dynamic entry from Cyclone, but he reformed. Even the violent leaf was not enough. Sakamoto was known for his immense level of chakra, and he had refined it into a sharp point, able to control it exactly where it went. He threw it a single kunai, as it turned into 100. I was forced to perform the morning peacock, but it was a distraction, and I found myself missing most of the muscle to my leg when he used the white lightsaber, and I was unable to walk. I have thought about getting a prosthetic from time to time, but I feel like my time has passed. It also wouldn't feel right getting it, said Guy. As Naruto patted him on the back, I understand, but even while retired, you probably still have more skill in your pinky finger than most of Konoha have in their entire body, and even all of the graduating genins from the academy. Guy chuckled lightly as he gave Naruto a smile. If you'll excuse me, he said, I wish to go speak with Lee. As Naruto nodded. It was tragic to hear what happened to Guy. Even Lee would have difficulty surpassing his former sensei, but if anyone could do it, it was Lee. Kakashi sat down beside Naruto. He was something else that day, and despite my nonchalant attitude sometimes, Guy was a friend. It hurt, telling him that he would never be a shinobi again. That's war though, said Naruto. Perhaps, said Kakashi. I'm not sure I could have done what he did though. Fighting my dad, I mean. Perhaps, said Naruto. You know, a wise someone once told me, with those who are precious to us, we can use our true strength. And a wise man once told me, to abandon the mission, we will be trash. But to abandon your comrades, you'll be worse than trash. Haku, the boy from Wave, and me, said Kakashi, as he laughed a bit. I never thought Obito would turn out that way. I don't think any of us could have expected it, said Naruto. You know, I think you should become a ninja psychologist. You talk Haku down. You talk Zabuza down. You talk Gaara down. Well, I stomped Sasuke's ass in the ground and dragged him back. So that break that theory, said Naruto, as Kakashi laughed, as he excused himself as he went to dance with Uncle. As Naruto looked towards her, she seemed a bit tamer. Her hair was going down her back instead of a ponytail. Naruto's vision was then filled with kunai. What is this? A reunion? With the old senseis? Slap! As Naruto's face turned to the left, she smacked him. As everyone turned their head looking over towards them, everyone got tense. As they saw Naruto turn his head, I'm fine, he said. I deserve it. As everyone released a sigh of relief, seeing that Kunai was not going to get hurt. So, get enough of 20 years of frustration out of you, said Naruto. Yes, she said. as she sat down beside him. She was ready to talk. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was the Ultimate Saiyan over on Anime King 3, and enjoy that guys. And on Anime King I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Had Ultimate Luck along with a gambler's ability. So go ahead and check that out and enjoy that as well guys. And remember, for you, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys very soon. Peace out.